Do you ever feel weighed down by worries, fears, or attachments? Maybe it's a relationship, a job, or even an idea about who you think you should be. It's easy to get caught up in these things, feeling like they define us or give us security. But what if, instead of clinging to them, we learn to let go? In today's video, we'll dive into the art of non-attachment through Buddhist teachings, principles that have helped countless people cultivate a sense of peace and freedom in their everyday lives. At the heart of these teachings is a powerful reminder from the Buddha himself. Attachment is the root of suffering. When we attach ourselves to things that are always changing, we set ourselves up for stress, frustration, and disappointment. But there is another way. We'll explore what non-attachment really means, why it's essential for our well-being, and how we can start to practice it in small but impactful ways. Whether you're completely new to this idea or have been curious about it for a while, this journey might just offer a fresh perspective on finding peace within yourself. So, let's dive in and uncover the art of letting go. What is non-attachment? Let's start with the basics. What is non-attachment? To understand it fully, we first need to look at what attachment means. In our everyday lives, attachment often shows up as a sense of clinging or holding on tightly to people, things, and even ideas. We might feel attached to our relationships, our possessions, or our goals, believing they provide us with stability or fulfillment. While it's natural to care about these things deeply, attachment happens when our happiness, security, or self-worth becomes tied to them. It's as if we're saying, "I can't be okay without this." Non-attachment, on the other hand, is the freedom from that clinging. It's about experiencing life fully without feeling the need to possess or control everything we encounter. Imagine being able to care deeply about something or someone, but without the fear of losing it or the need to have it exactly as you envision. Non-attachment invites us to be present and engaged with life while understanding that nothing is truly permanent. It's a practice of allowing things to come and go without losing our sense of peace or self-worth. Now, it's important to clarify a common misconception here. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or a lack of care. Sometimes people think that letting go of attachment means becoming cold or detached from the world around us, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Non-attachment allows us to care deeply, but in a way that doesn't depend on controlling or holding on to things. It's about being open-hearted and present without the weight of needing everything to go a certain way. Rather than dulling our feelings, non-attachment actually helps us experience them more freely and deeply without the constant worry of losing what we love. So, non-attachment is really about balance. It allows us to live with an open hand instead of a clenched fist, appreciating each moment, relationship, or experience without letting it define us or hold us back. Instead of being a barrier, non-attachment becomes a path to deeper connection because we're no longer tied to our fears, our expectations, or the need to keep everything the same. In this way, we're freer to fully enjoy what life has to offer. Why letting go is essential in Buddhism. Now that we understand what non-attachment means, let's look at why letting go is so essential in Buddhism. Central to Buddhist philosophy is the idea of dukkha, which is often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. According to the Buddha, dukkha is an inevitable part of life, stemming from the fact that we often seek happiness or fulfillment in things that are, by their nature, impermanent. We experience suffering because we attach ourselves to people, things, or circumstances, hoping they'll bring us lasting satisfaction. But when these things inevitably change or disappear, we're left feeling frustrated, anxious, or disappointed. This connection between attachment and suffering is one of the foundational teachings of Buddhism. When we cling to things, whether it's a relationship, a status, or even an idea of who we think we should be, we're setting ourselves up for suffering. The problem isn't in caring or engaging with life, but in the way we rely on these things for our sense of stability and happiness. Buddhist teachings encourage us to observe these attachments, recognizing that they keep us stuck in a cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. Letting go of attachment, therefore, becomes a way to break free from this cycle and find a more enduring sense of peace. Another key idea in Buddhism that supports letting go is the concept of impermanence, or anicca. Impermanence teaches us that everything in life is in a constant state of change, from the smallest details of our day to the biggest parts of our identity. Everything we encounter, our thoughts, feelings, and relationships, is always shifting and evolving. When we understand and accept this reality, we start to see that clinging to anything as if it were permanent only leads to disappointment. Recognizing impermanence helps us approach life with a sense of openness and flexibility, allowing us to appreciate each moment as it is without the need to control or hold on to it. In Buddhism, the wisdom of impermanence encourages us to let go, not because we don't care, but because we realize that true peace doesn't come from trying to grasp what can't be held. Letting go is not about avoiding life's ups and downs, but about flowing with them, accepting that change is a natural and beautiful part of our experience. By embracing impermanence and releasing our attachments, we find that we can still engage deeply with life, perhaps even more deeply, without the fear and suffering that come from holding on too tightly. Core teachings on non-attachment. To dive deeper into how non-attachment is woven into Buddhist teachings, we can start with the foundation of Buddhist philosophy, the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha taught that suffering, or dukkha, is an inherent part of human experience. This suffering, as we mentioned earlier, often arises because we're attached to things that are constantly changing. The second noble truth points directly to attachment as the primary cause of suffering, explaining that our craving and clinging to things, whether they're physical, emotional, or even ideas, creates a cycle of dissatisfaction. The third noble truth offers hope, teaching that by letting go of attachment, we can end this cycle of suffering and find peace. In essence, the Four Noble Truths show us that non-attachment isn't just an abstract idea. It's a practical path toward freedom from suffering. To guide us in cultivating this freedom, Buddhism offers the Eightfold Path, a set of practices that help us develop a balanced, ethical, and mindful approach to life. Two aspects of this path, right view and right mindfulness, are especially important when it comes to non-attachment. Right view encourages us to see life as it really is, recognizing the impermanent nature of everything and understanding that clinging only leads to suffering. This perspective shifts our focus from trying to control life to being more open and accepting of it. Right mindfulness, on the other hand, involves being fully present with our thoughts, feelings, and experiences without clinging to them. It teaches us to observe what arises in our minds and hearts with curiosity and compassion rather than judgment or attachment. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating both mindfulness and non-attachment. In meditation, we learn to sit with our thoughts and feelings, simply observing them as they come and go. This practice helps us develop the skill of witnessing our experiences without getting swept away by them. When we meditate, we see firsthand how fleeting thoughts and emotions really are, making it easier to let go of the need to grasp or control them. Over time, meditation helps us cultivate a kind of inner spaciousness, a freedom from the constant pull of our desires and fears. Instead of reacting to every thought or impulse, we become more able to let things pass naturally, allowing us to move through life with greater ease and equanimity. Through these core teachings, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and the practice of meditation, Buddhism provides a practical guide for letting go of attachment. Non-attachment isn't about pushing life away or avoiding joy. It's about experiencing life fully, without the limitations that come from trying to hold on to what cannot be held. By practicing non-attachment, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace, a more genuine presence, and a freedom to live without the constant need for things to be a certain way. Practical steps to practice non-attachment. Let's explore some practical steps for cultivating non-attachment in everyday life. It all begins with awareness and acceptance. Start by becoming aware of the things you feel deeply attached to. These could be specific people, material possessions, or even ideas about yourself or your future. Once you're aware of these attachments, practice accepting their impermanent nature. Remember, everything in life is in a state of change. By accepting this reality, we can begin loosening our grip on the things we cling to, realizing that while they may bring us joy, they don't define us or give us lasting peace. A powerful way to practice non-attachment is by letting go of outcomes. In many areas of life, we're conditioned to focus on results, whether it's success in our careers, achievements in personal projects, or even how others perceive us. This attachment to outcomes can lead to stress and disappointment. Instead, try shifting your focus to the effort and intention you bring to each action. Embrace the process and trust that whatever unfolds is part of the journey. By doing so, you'll find that you're more at peace and less anxious about things that are ultimately out of your control. Another step is decluttering, both physically and mentally. In a practical sense, simplifying your surroundings can help you release attachments to material possessions. Notice the items you hold on to out of habit or sentiment, and ask yourself if they truly add value to your life. By letting go of the excess, you create space not only in your environment, but also in your mind. This process of decluttering reminds us that we don't need to hold on to everything to feel secure or happy. Non-attachment in relationships is equally important. This doesn't mean caring any less about the people in your life, but rather practicing gratitude for your connections without trying to control or possess them. Appreciate each person for who they are, rather than for who you want them to be. When we practice mindful relationships, we allow others to grow and change naturally, and we become less fearful of loss or disappointment. Finally, here's a short meditation exercise to help practice non-attachment. Take a comfortable seat, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. As you settle in, bring to mind any thoughts or feelings that arise, whether they're worries, desires, or attachments. Instead of engaging with them, imagine each one as a cloud passing through the sky of your mind. Observe it, let it drift by, and return your focus to your breath. Practicing this simple exercise regularly can help you develop the skill of observing without clinging, making it easier to let go in other areas of your life. With these steps, awareness and acceptance, letting go of outcomes, decluttering, practicing mindful relationships, and meditation, you'll find that non-attachment gradually becomes more natural. It's a journey, so be gentle with yourself, and remember that each small effort to let go opens the door to greater peace and freedom. Challenges in letting go. Letting go sounds simple in theory, but in practice, it can be challenging, even daunting. For many of us, the idea of releasing attachments stirs up resistance or even fear. We may worry about losing our sense of identity, stability, or the connections we've built. It's natural to feel uncomfortable about change, especially when it involves loosening our hold on things or people we deeply care about. So if you're finding it difficult to let go, know that this is entirely normal. Letting go is a practice that unfolds over time, and every step, no matter how small, contributes to lasting inner peace. One of the best ways to handle this resistance is with compassion and self-kindness. Non-attachment isn't something that happens overnight, and pushing ourselves too hard can make the process even more stressful. Instead, approach it gradually, allowing yourself to take small steps. Celebrate each bit of progress and be patient with yourself when old habits of attachment resurface. Acknowledge that non-attachment is a journey, not a destination, and it's okay to take it slow. Practicing kindness toward yourself as you navigate this journey will make the process feel more natural and rewarding. It's also important to be mindful of some common mistakes when practicing non-attachment. One of the biggest pitfalls is confusing non-attachment with avoidance or emotional suppression. Sometimes people think that letting go means becoming indifferent or shutting down their feelings. But true non-attachment isn't about ignoring or avoiding emotions. It's about experiencing them fully without letting them control us. Avoidance can actually create more attachment because it means we're still resisting or rejecting certain parts of our experience. Non-attachment, on the other hand, allows us to feel deeply without clinging. Another mistake is treating non-attachment as a form of self-denial. Non-attachment doesn't mean giving up joy, love, or passion. It simply means enjoying these things without the need to control or possess them. By practicing non-attachment in a balanced way, we open ourselves up to experiencing life more richly and authentically, without the weight of constant expectations or fears. Remember, letting go doesn't make us care less. It allows us to engage with life more freely and openly. So if you're facing challenges in letting go, take a breath, offer yourself some compassion, and know that every bit of progress counts. Non-attachment is a skill that develops over time, and with patience, it will bring more peace and clarity into your life. Benefits of practicing non-attachment. Practicing non-attachment can open up a world of benefits that deeply transform the way we experience life. One of the most profound outcomes is a sense of personal freedom. When we release our need to control or cling to people and outcomes, we experience a peace that's not easily shaken by external circumstances. Imagine going through your day without the constant worry or fear of things not turning out the way you expect. With non-attachment, we're less affected by life's ups and downs, and as a result, our anxiety and stress levels naturally decrease. This inner freedom allows us to approach challenges with a calm and open mind, trusting that we'll be okay, no matter what happens. Non-attachment also leads to stronger, healthier relationships. When we let go of possessiveness and the need to control the people we care about, we create space for more authentic connections. This shift helps us appreciate others for who they are, rather than for what they can give us or how they make us feel. By practicing non-attachment in relationships, we allow those we love to grow and change naturally, without the pressure of our expectations. Ironically, this often brings us closer to others, as our relationships become based on genuine respect and appreciation, rather than dependency or fear of loss. Another beautiful benefit of non-attachment is that it allows us to live fully in the present. When we're no longer fixated on holding on to things or preventing change, we can engage with life wholeheartedly. We start to appreciate each moment, each experience, and each interaction for what it is, without getting tangled in worries about the future or regrets about the past. Non-attachment frees us from the fear of loss, allowing us to savor each moment deeply and authentically. Rather than living in a constant state of grasping or guarding, we find ourselves more open, more present, and more connected to the richness of life. Ultimately, non-attachment brings us closer to the peace, joy, and fulfillment we've been searching for. By letting go, we gain so much more: a lighter heart, deeper relationships, and the ability to be fully alive in every moment. Practicing non-attachment doesn't mean giving up on life. It means opening ourselves to experiencing life more fully, with an open heart and a calm mind. Conclusion. As we wrap up today's exploration of non-attachment, remember that this journey is all about practicing awareness and kindness towards yourself. The more we embrace non-attachment, the more peace and freedom we invite into our lives. Thank you for joining me on this journey of understanding. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments whether you relate more to 9 for feeling ready to embrace non-attachment, or 0 for where you currently are on this path. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from these teachings. Until next time, take care and keep exploring the art of letting go.